Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourselves for a scandal that would make even the most seasoned political operatives blush. Vice President Kamala Harris, yes, the one who wants to be your next president, who's also a heartbeat away from the presidency, where she's been caught in a web of deceit so brazen it defies belief. Picture this: disaster relief supplies loaded onto cargo planes, all for a photo op. But here's the kicker: those supplies were never meant to reach the storm victims. It's a level of cynicism that would make Machiavelli proud, and we have the exclusive details. Now, folks, let's talk about something that actually delivers real results, unlike Kamala's empty photo ops. Just as Harris' political facade is crumbling, many Americans struggle with aging skin. But here's the secret: it's all about collagen. After 20, your body produces 12% less collagen each decade. That's why I take this collagen supplement to revitalize my skin. It combines 5 types of collagen to reduce visible signs of aging and promote elasticity. Look at my cheeks. Look at how elastic they are. Unlike Kamala's empty promises, this delivers real results. Get it today at 51% off at healthwithgary.com. Plus, you'll get free VIP coaching, an ebook, and a 60-day guarantee. Don't let your skin down like Kamala let down the hurricane victims. Oh, am I spreading misinformation all of a sudden? Because I said Kamala let them down? Well, let's see what these guys had to say. Kamala Harris ordered the North Carolina National Guard to load disaster relief supplies onto a cargo plane just for a photo op with the intention of never sending the supplies to the storm victims. Hodgwins posting this. This disqualifies her from running for office. Let's watch.
Full supply. And then also from that video, I started getting a lot of messages like to my Instagram from like actual like aircraft commanders, like squadron commanders.
No kidding.
I had a squadron commander from North Carolina reach out to me. They had to load a C-17 full of supplies just to take a photo op for Kamala. And they never sent the bird.
Wait a minute, what?
They loaded an entire C-17 full of supplies for the hurricane victims just for Kamala to go there, take a photo, take a video, and they never sent the C-17. It was just a full.
Serious?
Yeah, that was a National Guard, North Carolina National Guard unit. That was a 06 that reached out to me. And then I had another.
He reached out to you to tell you that they did a photo op and with the intention of never sending.
Never sending. It was just a photo op. And then
just a photo op. That's what this entire administration is. Photo ops, smoke and mirrors. You know, just like when Joe Biden was running for office during the pandemic, it was all done from the basement. You know, they just propped them up. It's all marketing. But that facade is crumbling. Donald Trump Jr. posting this just a few hours ago. This is a big scandal, also rocking the Kamala Harris campaign. He says, "Oh my God, she's pretending to have a real answer to an actual question, but she's reading from a teleprompter, and Univision allowed it. How is this not a huge story? Not only if she's cheating and being dishonest, but it shows she's incapable of doing something off-prompter." Sean Davis posting this, yes, that's a teleprompter Kamala Harris is looking into during her totally unscripted Univision infomercial. Okay, so now in the video, the camera pans, the camera is walking behind her, and as soon as the camera gets into the shot, as the teleprompter gets in the shot, the producers see it, and they turn off the teleprompter. Now, I responded to one of these posts on X. If you're not following me on X, you need to do that. I'm getting a lot more active there because I know it's really a great free speech haven. People are communicating really well. It's a great place. And okay, so listen, I am not a big fan of the Whore of Babylon. Okay, just not a big fan. Not at all. You guys know that. But I want to think, okay, well, because I didn't see the teleprompter moving when she was talking. It was static. So the only logical explanation. Now, I didn't dive deeper into this. I didn't watch this entire Univision infomercial she did. But if there was a host or an anchor who was also on stage with her, kind of moderating the whole situation, it's quite possible that teleprompter was intended for the moderator. Okay? So everyone is jumping to this conclusion that she was using this teleprompter to give scripted answers, which I mean, it's very plausible because I mean she's an empty vessel, and she can't speak without a teleprompter. So that's, like, again, certainly plausible. However, there is a possibility that this teleprompter was intended for somebody else. And the reason it was shut down is because the camera's moving, and teleprompter's in the shot. The producers don't want the teleprompter to be seen and distract from the audience behind it. They want the cameras to kind of fade into the background. So that's my logical explanation. But again, I wouldn't put it past her to have completely scripted town hall, because this entire campaign, this entire administration is just full of propaganda and misinformation. But they want to attack. They want to attack us and patriots on the ground in these hurricane zones, in these hurricane recovery zones, for misinformation. Like, there's no question in my mind that those guys who revealed that the C-130 was loaded up for a photo op, there's no question in my mind that they would classify that as misinformation, despite the fact that he is citing sources. And, well, you know what's happening now? Joe Biden is threatening people for spreading misinformation. This is what he said: openly threatening Americans who criticize the Biden-Harris administration failure to provide relief. Listen to this.
I think those who have been spreading these lies to try to undermine the opposition are going to pay a price for it.
They're going to pay a price for it, he says. Now let's listen to the entire piece. So that was from Jack Unheard, who posted this 9-second clip, but we have the MSNBC full clip. I always like to get more context. You know, as much as I love all these different Trump supporting accounts, sometimes you only get a slice of what happened. So I'm going to go back to MSNBC and see the full context of the words. Let's listen.
I think it's a permanent state of being for some extreme people, but I don't think it's what the country's about. We're breaking through with it. We're breaking through with the truth. And if you notice, and I've really been proud, I've been on the phone and talking to a lot of Republican mayors and governors. They're standing up saying this is not Joe Biden, but conservative, hardcore Republican governors, hardcore Republican mayors stand up and say it's got to stop. It's got to stop. And I believe there's nothing permanent about it. I'm pleased that more Americans are coming together in a truly voluntary way. I mean, this is who the hell we are. When America's in trouble, we all jump in and try to help. Help your neighbor. And that's basically what's happened. But the thing that bothers me the most is there's a lot of people who get caught in these crises who are basically alone. You know, widowers, people in hospitals, people who are by themselves, and they don't know, and they lose contact, and they just get scared to death. And anyway, so I think I think those who have been spreading these lies to try to undermine the opposition are going to pay a price for it.
Do you think Donald Trump is singularly to blame for all of this?
No, he's not singularly. He's just the biggest mouth.
The reporter asked, is Donald Trump to blame for this? And he said he has the biggest mouth. Now, undermine? No, sir. We're not trying to undermine anything. We're trying to shine a light on your failures. Okay? So that you actually do your job. There's a big difference. And to classify that as misinformation is irresponsible at a minimum. We've got this. Again, I posted this. The entire administration powered by disinformation and lies. Fellow Americans, he says, are putting their lives on the line to do dangerous work. Oh, this is rich. Listen to this.
Additionally, Vice President Harris and I said yesterday, and we'll say it again, to anyone who seeks to take advantage of our fellow Americans' desperation, whether you're a company engaging in price gouging or a citizen trying to scam your neighbors, we will go after you and we will hold you accountable. Now, not only that, our fellow Americans are putting their lives on the line to do this dangerous work and receive death penalties. Some received death penalties yesterday. as a result of reckless, irresponsible, relentless disinformation and outright lies that continue to flow. Those who engage in such lies are undermining confidence in the rescue and recovery work that's opening and ongoing. As I speak, they're continuing. These lies are also harmful to those who most need help. Lives are on the line. People are in desperate situations. Have the decency to tell them the truth. So let me say this. To all the people impacted by Hurricane Helene and Hurricane Milton, despite the misinformation and lies, the truth is we're providing the resources needed to rescue, recover, and rebuild.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you for that, Joe. But we will continue to broadcast the voices of those not being heard. The voices of those people that are not being reached by your incompetent agencies like FEMA. And again, I will say this again. We are not undermining. We are shining a light so that you do your job. That is the job of my job. That's the job of the people who are posting those videos. And of course, I mean these guys are working overtime. And I think I said this the other day. This is going to be the way forward. Or maybe it was a post I made on X. This is the way moving forward. Anytime that you criticize anything from government, it's going to be classified as misinformation. And remember what Tim Wall said? Remember what he said? Well, the First Amendment doesn't protect misinformation. Well, it certainly does. But the fact that we're shining a light on your failures is not misinformation. So they're using these broad terms. Remember what Tucker Carlson said too, when he was in Milwaukee. He said, if anyone says that anyone says anything about disinformation or misinformation, he says they are a liar. He said, run from them. Because use your internal clock, use your internal gauge to figure out and discern the truth. Ask God to help you. If you can't understand something, dig deeper, investigate it. Amuse posted this. The birth of a tyrant, Mayorkas planted these questions. Be very afraid of this regime as the sun continues to set in their rule. A cornered animal is very dangerous. Listen to the question and listen to the response.
Mr. Secretary, Mary Bruce with ABC. Another question on misinformation. We've seen reports that some FEMA officials, including the administrator, are being doxxed and targeted online in the wake of these hurricanes. Are you concerned that individuals involved in the recovery effort are being threatened online?
We most certainly are. We are seeing horrific hate speech of all types propagated on online platforms.
Okay, so when you criticize, again, criticism is now considered hate speech. Wow, you see what they're doing here?
Deplorable speech has an impact on people's lives, and it is also a motivating force for people to do harm. And it has got to stop. And it is our work in the Department of Homeland Security to combat hate in all its forms. We will continue that work.
Do you have any information to suggest that any foreign governments have tried to take advantage and amplify this misinformation about the response and recovery effort?
I have not been alerted to that phenomenon. We, of course, have seen foreign nations disseminate false information for other purposes. I have not seen it in the context of Hurricane Helene or the Hurricane Milton, which just transpired. But of course, we are quite vigilant in monitoring that.
Good, Nancy.
Thank you, Secretary.
So what is this? What, Iran and Russia are going to be amplifying people on the ground who are shining a light on the incompetence of this administration, and then they're going to classify it as hate speech and misinformation? You see what these people are doing here? I mean, Mayorkas didn't even know what she was talking about. But apparently, the media has to bring it to their attention. And now there was this moment earlier as well. Joe Biden apparently, well, quits. Hustle bitch posted this. Joe Biden just quit on live TV, addresses Donald Trump as president, and asked for him to help the hurricane victims. But watch how this whole thing ends. Just watch.
About his plans relating to retaliation.
He's coming over to help with the storm.
Mr. President, have you spoken with former President Trump at all?
Are you kidding me? Mr. President Trump, former President Trump, get a life, man. Help these people.
Will you hold him accountable? You said you were going to hold those accountable.
Public will hold them accountable. You better than the press hold them accountable because you know the truth.
Do you plan to speak with former President Trump?
No.
Did you see that? Did you see that? It was like,
help these people.
Will you hold him accountable? You said you were going to hold.
He's like, help these people, and just like turns and walks away. The guy is completely lost. Now, some new information has come to light because we're talking about that C-130 earlier that was loaded up for a photo op for Kamala Harris. Leaked emails are now showing that Democrats conspired. Now, of course, they're going to call this misinformation too. This is from the National File. Leaked emails show Democrats conspired to slow down response in North Carolina. BCBS North Carolina worked directly with the Democrat Governor Roy Cooper's office to slow down disaster relief to Western North Carolina. Let's dig deeper. They say here BCBS is coordinating their relief effort in direct coordination with Cooper's office. The Democrat response is explicitly forbade volunteers from volunteering spontaneously. The Democrat-run BCBS response further restricted volunteer activities to the Red Cross and Volunteer North Carolina, a government entity. BCBS NC fully acknowledged the reality that their chosen response was going to slow the effort down by 4 to 6 weeks. Now, BCBS, I believe, stands for Blue Cross Blue Shield. Questions have been raised about whether BCBS NC has sunk to the level of making diversity hires. Cheryl Parquette is a so-called diversity engagement professional who works at BCBS, who sent several of these emails. Her profile banner reads, "If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door." Evidently, those suffering in Western North Carolina don't get assistance rebuilding their doors. Blue Cross Blue Shield North Carolina 1 week ago announced that the nonprofit would donate $2.5 million to the relief. That's approximately $1 per resident living in Western North Carolina. In 2021, during the pandemic, BCBS made over $500 million in profit. So, of course, they're going to call this misinformation or disinformation, but here's the emails that have been published by the National File. Oh, and there's more. Don't worry. Yes, there's more. For years, Kamala Harris was labeled Biden's insurance policy. Democrat Party voters are now awakening to this. Let's look at this. Chunk Uyghur. 4 days later, Trump has definitely taken the lead. When asked how she would be different than Biden, Harris said she would do the same things. Terrible answer. When asked what she would do in the White House, she said she's not Trump. Terrible answer. Big trouble ahead. So even the left is freaking out because they know that Kamala's days are numbered. J.D. Vance, just a while ago, had this to say.
I think it's just a matter of basic competence. I don't think there's anything malicious going on here, but you had this terrible hurricane. Of course, Western North Carolinians are devastated by it. And you had the President of the United States on the beach. You had Kamala Harris at a San Francisco fundraiser to really marshal the bureaucratic response to save people's lives and bring needed resources. You need a government that's focused. And I think, unfortunately, Kamala Harris was much more focused on the campaign than on delivering needed resources. And frankly, Joe Biden was doing whatever Joe Biden does. And that delay, I do think it cost a lot of damage, and hopefully it didn't cost lives, but I fear that it did. Well, I think it's just
Yeah, so that, again, that's what they're going to call misinformation. When you criticize the campaign, you criticize their response. You got Mayorkas freaking out. You got Joe Biden saying you're going to pay for it if you speak out and reveal these things. We've also got some other information that some background on that. I believe it was the C-130 background on that. Biden and his administration were reportedly furious with Harris after her photo op during the Helene hurricane crisis. Biden was initially told to stand down and let Harris handle it, but after she dropped the ball, failing to manage the situation, Biden stepped in. Biden's failing to manage this, Biden stepped in to address the issues. That's why he held the press conference and went down to boost morale, because Harris could not deliver. Fast forward to Hurricane Milton, and Biden took the lead, working directly with DeSantis, which left Harris fuming. It made her look incompetent, and the administration had to scramble to clean up the mess. There's more. It wasn't just Biden feeling the frustration. It was the entire administration and donors. Obama's getting heat from all sides as the whole team is dealing with the fallout from Harris's missteps. The internal dynamics are a mess, and it's not just Biden giving Obama grief. The blame for Harris is landing squarely on his shoulders, creating a lot of friction within the administration and donors. It's a big story. If it ever breaks, it will end the Harris campaign. So this all is stemming from this video
Commanders
of the C1, these guys breaking this story. So they know this is a disaster. The photo op was a disaster. They're calling in Obama to clean up the mess. And there's I think there's one more piece here. The internal infighting between Biden and Harris is huge. The information is coming from someone inside the campaign leaking details about the growing internal battles. So all this is creating massive chaos inside the White House, because you've got Joe Biden, who's still the president, and you have Kamala Harris, who's out there on the campaign trail, and now suddenly she's doing these press conferences, she's posturing herself in Zoom calls for disaster response, when you would have never seen her before. She would have always been in the background. It would have always been Biden taking the lead. But now suddenly, because she's running a campaign, she's trying to look presidential, and she goes in front of the cameras, but she's screwing it up. She's screwing it up big time, and the internals are leaking, and people are posting about it, and then they call it disinformation, misinformation. You're harming the effort. You see how they're trying to do damage control based on real people's accounts? Yeah, this is a big scandal, friends. It's a good thing she's still got a teleprompter. So there you have it, folks. Kamala Harris caught red-handed in a hurricane relief hoax that would make even the most hardened political operatives cringe. It's a reminder of the lengths that some will go for a photo op, even if it means exploiting the victims of natural disasters. But here's the question I will pose for you. Is this just politics as usual, or has the Harris campaign crossed a line that can't be uncrossed? Share your thoughts in the comments below.